In California in 1996, Cletus Kasady engaged in a heartfelt conversation with his girlfriend, Frances Barrison, through a wall at St. Estes Reform School. However, their emotional connection is disrupted when Frances is scheduled for a transfer, leaving them both devastated. Frances expresses her concern about her growing powers and fears losing control over them. As guards take Frances away in a truck, Cletus desperately calls out to her, but to no avail. Inside the truck, Frances unleashes her powers on a guard named Mulligan. Her piercing screams generate a powerful sonic force that incapacitates those around her, causing the truck to crash. However, Mulligan manages to shoot her in the face.
Last words?
Frances regains consciousness at Ravencroft Institute, where she undergoes testing conducted by Dr. Pazzo. Fast forward to the present day at San Quentin Prison, where Cletus, now portrayed by Woody Harrelson, insists that Eddie Brock, an investigative journalist played by Tom Hardy, come to interview him and share his story with the public. Eddie receives a call from Mulligan, now a detective, played by Stephen Graham. Venom, who coexists with Eddie, desires to consume Mulligan due to his unpleasant demeanor, but Eddie restrains Venom's hunger for flesh. Eddie meets with Cletus, who asks him to publish a haiku in the newspaper as a message to Frances. Before leaving, Venom urges Eddie to take a closer look inside Cletus's cell. Back at the apartment, Venom carefully studies the drawings and carvings adorning the walls of Cletus's cell, recognizing them as a crucial clue to the burial locations of his victims. They lead Eddie and Venom to a beach where they discover and report the presence of bodies to the authorities. As a result, the judge and governor decide to reinstate capital punishment, and Cletus is officially sentenced to death. Venom has been feeling dissatisfied lately because Eddie has restricted him to consuming live chickens and chocolate. They even have two pet chickens named Sunny and Cher, whom Venom has grown fond of and cannot bring himself to devour. Venom believes they should be out there, acting as the lethal protector, eliminating bad individuals. They visit the bodega where Mrs. Chen works, now aware of Venom's existence, but she informs them that her chocolate delivery is delayed. While traversing the city, Eddie and Venom come across a mugger assaulting a woman. Venom eagerly prepares to feast on the criminal, but Eddie persuades him to reconsider, much to Venom's disappointment. As they continue their rooftop escapades, they receive a call from And, requesting a meeting with Eddie. Eddie heads to a restaurant for a meeting with And Venom secretly hopes that And will reconcile with Eddie, or perhaps even accept both of them. However, And surprises Eddie by revealing that she and Dan have become engaged. Eddie's physical reactions give away Venom's presence to And, despite Eddie claiming that Venom had died a while ago. And advises Venom to take care of Eddie since he struggles to take care of himself and tends to push people away. Disheartened, Eddie rides his motorcycle back, displaying a disregard for his own safety. But Venom intervenes, guiding him away from potential harm. Eddie receives a postcard from Cletus, inviting him for a final visit before his execution. The postcard also reveals Cletus's disturbing past, including the abuse he endured from his father, resulting in him causing the death of his grandmother by pushing her down the stairs in her wheelchair and electrocuting his own mother in the bathtub. Reluctantly, Eddie pays Cletus a visit. The deranged Cletus taunts Eddie, reminding him how he not only drove And away but also how his father blamed him for his mother's death during childbirth. This provokes Venom, who forcefully pins Cletus against the wall. However, when Venom brings Cletus closer to Eddie, Cletus bites Eddie's hand, drawing blood. To his surprise, Cletus realizes that the blood he tastes is far from ordinary. He witnesses the blood come to life on his finger before consuming it. Venom acknowledges that they may have just made a tremendous mistake. Eddie and Venom return to their home and engage in a heated argument about how Eddie feels restricted in his life because of Venom, while the symbiote continues to complain about its insatiable hunger. The tension escalates, leading to a physical altercation that involves Venom destroying Eddie's TV. Eventually, they reach a point of breaking up, and Venom proceeds to possess unsuspecting individuals. Meanwhile, Eddie takes the opportunity to clean up his apartment and regain some semblance of normalcy. As Cletus's execution by lethal injection approaches, the symbiote within his bloodstream takes control, sabotaging the procedure. It consumes Cletus, transforming him into the terrifying Carnage. Carnage brutally slaughters the guards and escapes from San Quentin. Outside, he kills another individual, steals their clothes, and commandeers a car as he embarks on a search for Francis. Carnage reveals his desire to kill Venom and become the most powerful symbiote, seeking Cletus's assistance on the condition that he helps him locate Francis. They visit a gas station, where Cletus murders the clerk and, with Carnage's help, hacks into the internet to discover that Francis is held at the Ravencroft Institute. Eddie comes across the news of Cletus's escape and is soon visited by Mulligan, who urges him to share any information about Cletus due to the killer's interest in Eddie. Intrigued by the clues Venom picked up, Eddie investigates and is led to St. Estes, where he discovers a carving on a tree that reads CK plus FB. He contacts Mulligan, who recognizes it as a reference to Frances but believes she died when he shot her years ago. Meanwhile, Venom continues to inhabit different bodies, but none can sustain him for long before they perish. He finds himself at a nightclub, where the attendees mistake him for someone wearing an impressive costume. In a heartfelt speech, Venom expresses his longing for Eddie, despite the crowd's admiration. As the current body nears its limit, Venom manages to seek assistance from Mrs. Chen at her shop as he grows weaker. At Ravencroft, Cletus confronts Dr. Pazzo, who tries to provoke Francis. Eventually, Cletus transforms into Carnage, using his tentacles to kill Dr. Pazzo and free Francis from her cell. He gives her the name Shriek, based on her powers. Together, they eliminate the guards and proceed to St. Estes, intending to destroy it. As authorities and armed forces approach, Carnage and Shriek unleash their powers, with Shriek's powerful screams posing a challenge for Carnage, who dislikes the weakening effect of the noise. He demands that Cletus keep Shriek under control.
Right here.
Ta-da!
He's sensitive to sound.
Mulligan apprehends Eddie with the hope that he can help bring Cletus to justice. Eddie uses his phone call to contact and for assistance. With Dan driving her, they head to the police station where Eddie explains the need for Venom to fight back against Cletus. And Dan then go to Mrs. Chen's shop, wherein realizes that Venom has found a compatible host in Mrs. Chen, and successfully convinces Venom to return with her. They all return to the station, wherein transforms into She-Venom once again and orchestrates Eddie's escape. Before reuniting with Eddie, Venom insists on receiving a genuine apology, and Eddie eventually relents and expresses remorse for removing Venom from his body. Venom rejoins Eddie. Meanwhile, Cletus and Shriek devise a plan to hold a wedding where the three villains aim to kill their respective targets. Shriek targets Mulligan, Cletus targets Eddie, and Carnage targets Venom. They ambush Mulligan, capturing him, and then proceed to and in Dan's apartment. Shriek incapacitates Dan and sets out to capture and, leaving a note for Dan to discover. Dan contacts Eddie to inform him of Anne's peril and the villain's intention to meet at a cathedral. Eddie, accompanied by Venom and Dan, reaches the cathedral for the ultimate confrontation. Venom enters but becomes fearful upon seeing the immense size of Carnage. Eddie promises Venom the freedom to consume whomever he desires, sparking the epic battle between the symbiotes. Venom valiantly combats Carnage, defending against his relentless assaults. Shriek attempts to assist, but Carnage insists she stays back, despite Cletus's objections. Dan manages to temporarily restrain Carnage by utilizing fire. Mulligan tries to escape, but Shriek pursues him, eventually seemingly causing him to fall from a ledge with a chain around his neck. As Carnage causes debris to fall on Venom, weakening him, Carnage seizes and ascends to the rooftop with the intention of killing her. Sensing their own inadequacy, Venom and Eddie doubt their ability to defeat their opponents. However, Dan points out that Eddie and Venom share a stronger bond compared to Cletus and Carnage, as Carnage continually tries to control Cletus while mistreating Shriek. This revelation inspires Venom to rise up and fight back, preventing Carnage from devouring and saving her from falling. The tolling of a bell weakens the symbiotes, leading Eddie and Cletus to engage in a physical fight. Just as Carnage and Shriek have them cornered, Venom knocks Shriek off a ledge, causing her to meet her demise as she is crushed by a bell. Eddie and Cletus fall, but Venom manages to use and Dan as support, while Carnage and Cletus become separated. Carnage attempts to crawl back to Cletus, but Venom intercepts and consumes him first. Venom seizes Cletus, who reveals his desire for Eddie to be his friend. Venom rejects this notion and decisively bites off Cletus's head, proclaiming, "Fuck this guy."
Fire and set!
What are you doing?
I'll shut
Away from me!
Shut up! Fuck this guy!
Eddie and Venom part ways with Ed and Dan before the police arrive. Meanwhile, Mulligan appears to survive, and his eyes emit a blue glow reminiscent of Shriek's. Later on, Eddie contemplates the fate of his relationship with Venom. Despite considering permanent separation, Eddie ultimately decides to seek refuge on a tropical island, a choice that Venom approves of. During the credits, Venom reveals to Eddie that symbiotes possess the ability to perceive other dimensions within the multiverse. As Venom attempts to demonstrate this, a surge of energy seemingly transports them to a new location. On a television screen, Eddie and Venom witness a news report delivered by J. Jonah Jameson regarding Spider-Man's recent exploits following the events of Far From Home. Venom emits a growl and licks Spider-Man's image on the screen in a primal display of aggression. And the movie ended. Thank you for watching this movie recap. I hope it provided you with a clear understanding of the plot. If you enjoyed this video, we would appreciate your feedback. Please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment to share your thoughts. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more engaging movie recaps and exciting content. Your support motivates us to produce more quality videos like this. Thank you once again, and we eagerly anticipate bringing you more recaps in the future.